Hi everyone, how's it going? We're happy to have all of you here from around the world. If you're new, welcome to the family. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Deep in the heart of the Himalayas lies one of the most dangerous wounds on Earth, India and Pakistan. Two nuclear-armed rivals whose borders aren't just lines on a map, but literal lines of fire. Any small clash could explode into a full-scale war, a war that could destroy everything. In this video, we'll break down how the Kashmir dispute became an open nuclear standoff and explore the potential for all-out war between the two most dangerous powers in South Asia and maybe even the world.
When Britain pulled out of the Indian subcontinent in 1947, it left behind a ticking time bomb, Kashmir. This Muslim-majority region got caught between Hindu-majority India and Islamic Pakistan. The Hindu ruler chose to join India, and war immediately broke out between the two newly formed neighbours. The UN drew a line of control but didn't offer a real solution. Kashmir stayed divided, unstable and bleeding. Another war broke out in 1965, and a third in 1971, when India backed East Pakistan's independence, leading to the creation of Bangladesh. But the most dangerous clash came after both sides went nuclear. In 1999, Pakistani forces infiltrated Kargil. India hit back with heavy air and artillery strikes, and the conflict nearly spiraled into a nuclear war, until both sides pulled back at the last moment. Since then, Kashmir hasn't calmed down. Pakistan supports resistance groups, and India responds with tough crackdowns. The region has become more than a border issue. It's now a national symbol, a battleground, and a constant excuse for escalation.
Things changed forever in 1998. The conflict between India and Pakistan stopped being a traditional war. With 5 nuclear tests in Rajasthan, India announced it had the most destructive weapon in history. Just days later, Pakistan responded with tests of its own. The balance of terror was now official, and the nuclear arms race began, with zero room for mistakes. India adopted a no-first-use policy but left some vague exceptions. Pakistan, on the other hand, kept the door open from the start for a first nuclear strike, even in the case of a conventional invasion.
That's where Pakistan's early deterrence doctrine came in. It started developing tactical nukes like the Nazar missile, designed to strike battlefield targets. India, meanwhile, built a massive conventional force and focused on second strike capabilities for full-scale deterrence. Pakistan banks on surprise and quick psychological deterrence. The result? A fragile balance where both sides have the power to unleash mass destruction, but with no strong communication channels, no disarmament treaties, and no guarantees to prevent catastrophe during a crisis.
There are 4 scenarios where a nuclear strike could actually happen. Pakistan's tactical strike. If Indian forces push deep into Punjab or Kashmir and Islamabad feels like collapse is near, it might use a small, quick tactical nuke to stop them and save the capital. But that would break the ultimate taboo and open the gates of hell. India's strategic retaliation. India has made it clear any nuclear attack, even a small one, will be answered with massive retaliation targeting major cities like Karachi, Lahore, and possibly Islamabad. The result? Hundreds of thousands dead in hours and the total collapse of Pakistan. Accidental war, the worst-case scenario. A mistaken missile detection, faulty intelligence, or misreading a routine move could start a chain reaction that can't be stopped. No one means to start a war, but it happens anyway. Gradual escalation. A border artillery clash becomes airstrikes, then a land invasion. Pakistan responds with a tactical nuke. India unleashes full retaliation, and a local skirmish turns into global catastrophe. Scientific studies estimate that such a war could kill between 50 and 155 million people in just days. The smoke from nuclear fires would darken the skies, drop global temperatures, and cause what's known as a nuclear winter, followed by years of famine. Bottom line, nuclear deterrence hasn't made South Asia safer. It's turned it into a powder keg where a single misstep could end millions of lives. Why hasn't a full-scale, possibly nuclear war broken out yet? There have been 3 major wars, dozens of border skirmishes, assassinations and artillery strikes, yet not a single full war since 1999. Is that stability? Not necessarily.
What we have is a fragile balance based on 5 shaky pillars, any of which could collapse. First, nuclear deterrence and fear of the end. Both sides know that a full-scale war would mean uncontrollable destruction. Mutually assured destruction keeps the nuclear button within reach, but never pressed.
Second, international pressure. Global powers, especially China, the United States and Russia, dread the idea of a nuclear war in South Asia. Every serious crisis has pushed these countries to step in, either openly or through secret back channels. It's not out of love for India or Pakistan, but out of fear that the entire international order could collapse.
Third, economic rationality. In short, both economies have a lot to lose. India wants to become a global economic powerhouse. Pakistan relies heavily on foreign aid. Any war would mean sanctions, collapsing markets, and an investment freeze, something both countries' elites are desperate to avoid.
Fourth, back-channel military communications. Despite the hostility, the two militaries maintain discrete lines of communication, especially regarding nuclear weapons. They quietly exchange messages to de-escalate tensions and prevent misunderstandings. It's not perfect, but it's kept the peace for now.
And finally, the changing global order.
This isn't just a local border conflict anymore. The India-Pakistan rivalry reflects a global system that's losing control. The post-World War II world order aimed to contain nukes and manage conflicts, but countries like India, Pakistan, Israel and North Korea have bypassed the rules and gotten away with it.
Now, there are no strong overseers, no binding treaties, and no global body able to step in quickly. Rising regional powers are acting independently. India isn't just a Western ally, and Pakistan isn't completely tied to China anymore. Each country is making major decisions based on its own interests without asking for permission from superpowers.
The world isn't centered around one power anymore. It's a tangled web of influence, rivalries, and contradictions. And both India and Pakistan are caught up in a wave of nationalism and populism, not rational strategy. In both New Delhi and Islamabad, as in other capitals, hardline nationalism is becoming the path to political power.
And as these movements grow stronger, war becomes a popular decision, not just a political one. Emotion begins to drive armies. Some people describe this as a proxy war, but with real missiles. Behind the scenes, China is moving to support Pakistan, while the United States is betting on India to counter China's influence in Asia.
So the Kashmir conflict is no longer just about geography. It's now part of a global chess game, moved by invisible hands. And that's where the myth of nuclear deterrence begins to crumble. India, confident in its power, has launched airstrikes inside Pakistan, knowing that a nuclear response is unlikely.
This strategy is called escalation under the threshold, using force without fearing a catastrophic response. But this kind of gamble is only safe until someone miscalculates. What's happening between India and Pakistan is not just a local conflict, it's a sign of a collapsing global deterrence system, and Kashmir might just be the beginning of similar crises elsewhere, especially if international norms continue to break down.
India and Pakistan have never known true peace. Sure, there have been ceasefires, but underneath them the sounds of mobilization and hate have never really stopped. The nuclear button has always been quietly waiting. And now, in 2025, the threat feels closer than ever. Kashmir is still the flashpoint, but the fire now spreads from the battlefield to political offices, media screens, cyber war rooms, and nationalist speeches. Each side is betting the other won't press the button. But history has shown us, the deadliest wars often don't start with intent, they start with a fatal miscalculation. Maybe this crisis will pass like the ones before it. According to current reports, nuclear confrontation won't happen this time, but every time this shaky balance is tested, it gets weaker, closer to collapse. In a world where control is slipping, rhetoric is rising, and diplomacy is fading, nuclear deterrence alone may not be enough. Thanks so much for watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. At SS News, we're committed to delivering traditional, balanced news,